this will click about 10 seconds later.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've been having a little, for the last couple of meetings, we're not really sure what's going on, but sometimes it says losing internet connection and it pops back in.
If it does it tonight, just try to get back in and.
Yeah, that's what I did last
as soon as
time.
you can,
Yeah.
I guess.
The problem is that you can't start it again. I have to actually go in and create a new meeting.
I suspect those that are on virtually, that's kind of a pain for them. Okay, I have 7 p.m. All right. Welcome to the December 18th, 2023 Bold School Board meeting. I'll start out by reading the mission statement tonight. Our mission statement is to provide all learners in the Bold community an education designed to develop the creativity, character, confidence, and skills essential to flourish in a changing global society. So with that, I'll call the meeting to order. And our roll call is Member Buchtel, Benson, Member Sheehan, and Member Frank. With roll call, I'll also note that this morning, approximately at 10:30 a.m., we received a notice of immediate resignation for Member Jacobs from the board today on December 18th. So with that, I ask and welcome all those online and here to please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Buchtel.
Is there a second?
Benson, second Benson.
It's been moved by Member Buchtel and seconded by Member Benson to approve the agenda. Any changes, additions, deletions, changes? Any changes? Any changes to the agenda? Okay, none brought forth, so let's go forward and vote. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Okay, thank you for those attending here tonight virtually and in the room. We appreciate your participation in the meeting. So with that, we'll move to item 5 on the agenda. And that would be a welcome to Greg Peppel. And we will be doing an acceptance of office and an oath of office of him as an appointed board member. So Greg, would you please come forward so the microphones can pick you up?
Okay.
Would you please read the acceptance of office?
I hereby accept the office of school board member of Independent School District number 2534 for a term beginning December 18th, 2023 and expiring the Monday after the special election on November 5th, 2024. The Monday after is when results will be certified.
Okay, thank you. Can you please recite the oath of office?
I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District number 2534 to the best of my judgment and ability.
Thank you. Welcome to the board, Greg.
Thank you.
You may be seated with us, and you are a fully sworn in member of the board at this point. The next item is item 6, the public forum. Is there anyone here that's wanting to speak tonight? Okay, we don't have anyone for the public forum this evening, so let's move on to consent items. We have 2 consent items tonight. That would be 1, to approve our bills for payment, and 2, to approve the minutes of our November 27th, 2023 meeting. That's enclosure 1 in our packet. Is there a motion?
So moved Benson.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Member Benson and seconded by Member Sheehan to approve the consent items, which are approving our bills for payment and approving our minutes from the November 27th, 2023 meeting. Any discussion? Any discussion or questions? Any discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on the consent items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to pass the two consent items. Okay, the next one would be section 8, which is our personnel. So we have 5 items there. The first one would be to approve the hiring of Taylor Caspers as the junior high softball coach for the 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved, Benson.
Is there a second?
Second, Buckle.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Buchtel to approve the hiring of Taylor Caspers as the junior high softball coach for the 2023 through 2024 school year. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. This will be a voice vote, so because it's a hiring item. So we'll start with member Sheehan.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Peppel.
Aye.
Member Buchtel.
Aye.
And member Frank, I am an aye as well. So the motion carries unanimously to approve hiring Taylor Caspers as the junior high softball coach for the 2023 through 2024 school year. Second item, approve the resignation of Mariah Lowe, special education paraprofessional, effective December 1st, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved, Buckle.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Buchtel and seconded by member Sheehan to approve the resignation of Mariah Lowe, special education paraprofessional, effective December 1st, 2023. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. This one we can just do by a general voice vote together as it's a resignation. So all in favor of, or is there any more discussion? I want to make sure. Okay. All in favor of approving the resignation of Mariah Lowe, special education paraprofessional, effective December 1st, 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to approve the resignation of Mariah Lowe, special education paraprofessional, effective December 1st, 2023. The next one would be to approve the hiring of Joanna Reyna, special education paraprofessional, effective November 29th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved, Buckle.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Buchtel and seconded by member Benson to approve the hiring of Joanna Reyna, special education paraprofessional, effective November 29th, 2023. Any discussion? Any questions? Any discussion? Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move and to vote. This will be a voice vote as it's a hiring process. So again, we'll start over here. Member Buchtel.
Aye.
Member Peppel.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Sheehan.
Aye.
And member Frank is an aye as well. It's a unanimous approval of hiring Joanna Reyna, special education paraprofessional, effective November 29th, 2023. All right, item 4, approve the resignation of Catherine Reese, musical choreographer, musical pianist, and musical band/vocal director, effective November 7th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved, Benson.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Peppel to approve the resignation of Catherine Reese, musical choreographer, musical pianist, and musical band/vocal director, effective November 7th, 2023. Is there any discussion?
I just want to thank her for all the years she's helped us. She's been a great asset.
She has. And she's coming back now to substitute teach too.
Great.
That's good.
Oh,
Good.
Yeah.
she's done a lot for the arts program.
Yes, she
and,
has.
yeah, choir over the years.
Oh, musicals too.
Yeah.
So, okay, any other discussion, questions, comments, anything else? Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. This will just be a general voice vote as it's a resignation. So all in favor to approve the resignation of Catherine Reese, musical choreographer, musical pianist, and musical band / vocal director effective November 7th, 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve the resignation of Catherine Reese as musical choreographer, musical pianist, and musical band vocal director effective November 7th, 2023. Okay. The last one is to approve the resignation of Melissa Everson, junior varsity volleyball coach, effective November 29th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So move, Benson.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Sheehan to approve the resignation of Melissa Everson, junior varsity volleyball coach, effective November 29th, 2023. Is there any discussion, questions? Discussion, questions, comments? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to vote. And again, this will just be a voice vote. All in favor to approve the resignation of Melissa Everson, junior varsity volleyball coach, effective November 29th, 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve the resignation of Melissa Everson, junior varsity volleyball coach, effective November 29th, 2023. Okay, on to section 9 reports. Jim, superintendent report.
All right, well, under the project update, we did meet a few weeks back as a design committee to just kind of figure out our whole process on this. Nexus came down and they're going to be meeting with smaller groups, smaller design teams to get their input. We're going to be hoping to, well, not hoping, we're going to be working with them to keep everything within the project budget, of course. Then right now there's nothing set in stone, but we're looking at the possibility of beginning some of the outdoor things and maybe some gym work this summer. And so that's exciting. We'll be putting together a plan, and then that'll go out for bids, and then things get moving. So very excited there. Another thing of positive note here that we took bids. We had 3 bids come in for our civil survey bid, and Interstate Engineering, Ben Oseth here in town, they have the winning bid. So I think that's great. We're already starting off using local people, and I think that's awesome. I think a lot of times Amy and I were talking about this. They don't have to build in a lot of travel for this project and hotels and things. So I think in a lot of cases our local people are going to benefit from that. And right now we're excited because the bond rates have been falling. We're crossing our fingers, hoping those continue to fall, and we'll just keep watch. MSBA conference is coming up the 11th and 12th. We've got hotels right now. If you're not going, make sure you talk to Amy. Hotels on Wednesday evening and Wednesday night and Thursday night. And I'll be going up and doing the phase 1 and 2. I presume Greg will be up there, phase 1 and 2 as well. So,
Did you ever take your phase 1 and phase 2, Todd?
I didn't. No.
That needs to get done soon.
Yeah, you're obligated. to
Yeah,
do that.
you have to do that within like so many months.
First year I went to the convention, I couldn't make it because of work, and that's unfortunately, this convention's in a bad time of the year for me.
But I think you can do it in the year, during the year,
Online,
not online, but I think they have
I'll look into
classes, but that really needs to
Yeah,
get
I
done.
didn't realize that. You do need to do that.
Yeah.
And they have options. It might be in St. Cloud or Mankato or
Yeah.
some other locations, but you do have that.
Yeah,
I've been to ones in not phase 1 and phase 2, but they have them in Marshalls, or they used
Yeah.
to, sometimes do with the co-op, so.
yeah. Because that is a mandatory thing
okay,
that has
thank
to
you.
be done.
I'll look into that. Then the last thing I'm going to note on is the district office hours next week. We're just going to be closed next week. I'll be around, but I'm not sitting in here all day waiting for doors to be knocked on. So Amy and Nancy are taking some much needed vacation, and I know that they'll probably be working too while they're gone, and they shouldn't, but you got to enjoy your vacation. All right. Any questions for me?
Okay, let's move on to item B under reports. That would be the K through 12 principal report. That is enclosure number 2 in our packet. So any questions on that can be emailed to Brett, who's not here tonight.
Again, I sort of mentioned this last week or last year or last month, that Brett's been in classrooms a lot this year, and it's been great. Really appreciate that.
Looks like our enrollment's just back to 618 again for a total. So it's still right there. Okay. Let's move on to item C, the activities report. That's enclosure 3 in the packet. So any questions on the activities report?
I know right now the Benson has been trying to get out of the conference. They were hoping that the ADs would vote to kick them out of the conference, but they wouldn't do that. I talked to Derek just so I'm on base with what they're doing, and he said, they're a similar size school. It doesn't make sense, but I know they're struggling. They don't have a lot of kids going out for sports, and it makes it tough for them. So we'll have to wait and see how this pans out.
And so they invited KMS. Is KMS currently in the Camden conference?
I don't know that.
I'm thinking they are. And I'm thinking Benson wanted to go there, so that might be a swap possibly. If they opt to do it, I don't know what they'll do. So, okay. Any other questions on the activities report? Okay, let's move on to D, our community education report. That's as always, Derek's available for questions with emails. So with the community ed report, any questions on that? Okay, hearing no questions, we will move on our agenda to item E, the pool report, which is enclosure 5 in the packet. Tracy's always available with a phone call or email as well. So just so the public's aware, the pool was started to be filled again. Apparently they had to stop. They found a leak in the main line.
We found a leak, we drained it, then we started again, found another leak, so we stopped. We didn't have to drain it yet, but they've been working on that, and I think they've got it figured out. They did an insurance walkthrough last week and really looked at what happened. It's interesting because the main company, EMI, insures both of the other companies, and they're trying to figure out what part failed and what happened. So.
Is that structural or plumbing related?
Right, the leak?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, right now it's plumbing related. Yeah, nothing structural.
Okay, any other questions on the pool report before we move on? Okay, item 6 then, we'll move on to, enclosure number 6, which is part F, our facilities report from Denny. So I did have a couple quick questions. Items 1 and 2, are those in the Olivia facility or the Bird Island facility, or split? Do you know, Jim?
Those are both in the Olivia building.
Okay. Any questions on that? By anybody?
Well, and then last one here, you're getting started on the new classroom furniture. We bought new furniture and.
Yep.
Already?
Yeah, we used ESSER funding end of last year, we did that.
Okay.
It took months for it to get shipped, and so I was worried you were gonna ask me what a keep filled out was.
So which part of the school is that going to be in? The high school, grade school, middle school?
Elementary.
Elementary.
Any other questions on the facilities report? Okay, let's move on to Part G, our school board committee reports. So the facilities committee met
Last Wednesday.
last Wednesday.
We met last Wednesday. I guess I'm the only one here that was there. We basically sat down, we went through these contracts that Nexus is about to discuss with us. The committee, we offered up several changes which were implemented. I have been talking with our insurance company and asked for a few changes in there, and we've been discussing those. We look like we're good to go, and Randy wasn't sure if he was going to be here or not tonight, but they support, with the changes made, they support the contract.
Okay. Well, legal wise, it's been reviewed as well.
Yes, yeah.
I have a quick question on here where it says other funding sources. What, such as where?
Well, do you guys want to talk to that? I mean, it can be.
Or we can weigh in.
Can
I
we
guess.
wait till we
Yep,
start?
yep, that's fine.
Which will be very shortly here, Sandy. All right. Any other questions around the facilities committee? Okay, all right, let's move then on to new business. And the first item would be item A, to approve the contracts with Nexus. So would there be a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Bucktel and seconded by member Sheehan to approve the contracts with Nexus. So let's start out. Sandy, do you want to let them present and then
Yeah, go ahead.
do the
Do their
question?
thing.
I just want to make sure your question is answered.
Well, they already know what my question is, so I'm sure
I
they'll,
guess they're going to touch on it.
they'll already get that in there, I'm hoping.
Okay, so it's okay if I just come up here?
Yeah, if you could come up and state who you are, so everyone's aware, right?
My name is Mike David. I'm with Nexus Solutions, so thank you for giving us the opportunity to visit with you this evening. I'm the one that drafted the agreements, and then our council worked with the district's council to work through kind of the terms and conditions. And it was a pretty quick process from the standpoint of we worked with that same law firm probably 3 or 4 times in the last year or so. They tend to make all the same changes. And your question, and there's actually 2 sets of contracts. It's all the same project, but a portion of the project is potentially going to be funded with ESSER monies. And being that those are federal dollars, they've got different requirements in terms of prevailing wage, things of that nature. So in order for, if we incorporate that money into if we treat it as one big project, then the entire project is subject to all those additional requirements. So which would be not a great thing financially for the school district. So what we do is we just carve out the ESSER projects and write a separate contract around those. We still manage it the same way, but there's some different requirements in terms of how it's bid and those sorts of things. So there's actually 2 different contract documents, but it's the same project, if that makes sense. Okay. The ESSER monies, which, and just because we write a separate agreement around it, it doesn't mean that you have to use the ESSER dollars. It allows you to. Okay. The dollar amount on that is $816,400, and I believe it's largely the playground work out here. Then the main agreements are is largely the referendum, but then there's 2 other funding sources. So the referendum amount is $39,950,000. And then there was monies that we had identified. If you remember the financial solution that we've been working on for the last year and a half or so, there was facilities maintenance bonds proceeds and long-term facilities maintenance revenue carryover. That's $1,620,990. And then there's the very descriptive other funding sources, which is $1,573,295. That is a combination of existing funds on hand, capital dollars, and then there's also potential, looking at some outside support, potentially on the pool project. But I think there needs to be some discussions with the city there first. I think there's been discussions, just there been
yeah.
commitments made. So,
Just hasn't been approved by the city council yet.
yes. So, so we kind of lumped those, for simplicity's sake, we lumped those all together and just called it other funding sources. Collectively, the total project budget, so all up, all in, on those projects, excluding the ESSER, is $43,144,285. When I say all up, all in, again, includes all those various funding sources. It also includes all of the work necessary to get the project approved. So all the trade contractor work, permits, any expenses paid to Nexus. Okay, so our fees and any work that we have to do. So again, the idea is that the project doesn't take any money from the district's general fund.
So a question around the bond proceeds, I would assume that's a conservative estimate of the bond proceeds that we're likely to get, correct?
Yeah, yes, there is, if what you're saying there is, we've listed it, well, this is the facility maintenance bond proceeds, but what I think you're referring to is the referendum.
Bond proceeds,
Yes.
yes.
And we're using the referendum amount. The way that market works today, there's oftentimes what are known as bid premiums.
Yeah.
So you're selling $39,950,000 in bonds, and it wouldn't be uncommon to end up with $42 million in proceeds. Okay, just the way that market works. And I don't know the nuances of it. I just know that that's the outcome. What would be done with that is that bid premium would be used initially to offset inflation. And then we try to keep a handle on that, obviously. But then if any time, and this goes with any of these projects, again, we go through a bidding process, as Jim had alluded to. We go through a design process, then we competitively bid everything. The bids will be opened here, so everyone will see them. And then assuming that we bring things in under budget, any bid underage is the districts to use as you see fit. With the stipulation, legally it needs to be used for facilities. You can't use it to pay teacher salaries.
Correct. So we could use it to fund back against the bond principal if we wanted.
Yep.
Or something else as the board would decide,
Yes.
around facilities.
Yes, and the ballot question was worded to give you that, which is standard practice, was worded to give the board the latitude to do that. So the only thing that we don't have in here, because again, I think this has been talked about, was that there were some additional projects, some air conditioning, I think some parking lot work that you do have an additional levy authority for, but we said, let's take a look at where these bond proceeds come in and where the actual interest rates are and see how that shakes out. So none of that is included here.
Yep.
Okay. There was, just for clarification, I got your email. We haven't had a chance to talk, but Jim had mentioned that there was something on insurance, and your insurance agent had just asked for clarification that we had lower insurance coverages listed in here than Nexus carries, and we do that because any insurance coverages listed in here apply to all of our sub-consultants as well. You have some sub-consultants that don't carry that much insurance because they don't need it. And we still carry more, and whether it's listed here or not, you have legal access to that. The insurance agent just said, can we document that? So what I did was that table that was in there, the original table, I said that applies to our sub-consultants. And then I included our certificate of insurance, which is now attachment D. And I said, we will provide the insurance in line with our certificate of insurance, which the insurance agent said that's more than enough.
And that lists bold as a.
It lists both as an additional insurance.
Sure.
Yes. Yep. for clarification, it does, the one in here doesn't, because to get that certificate, I need the contract.
Correct,
Chicken,
correct.
chicken. So, but the coverages are all the same. So, what we're, something that we talked about with the facilities committee the other, it was last Thursday, Wednesday, something like that. We wanted the clarification of, you're not approving 43,144,285 in expenditures tonight. What you're approving is you're hiring Nexus officially for the professional services, which is planning, design, which is architecture and engineering, construction management, commissioning. And that's, and that is, we bill that on a, what's known as a percent of completion basis. So kind of as we work through the project. What this is you're hiring, this is a contract for Nexus services, not for the entire 43 million. Okay, the 43 million, as we bid the project out, there would be, something like this is probably gonna be 3, 4, 5 bid packages. Again, those bids are all brought in here, publicly opened. We then vet them all out. Then we come back to you with, here's who we would recommend you award to. In most cases, it'll be awarding to the lowest bidder. It's the term is known as the lowest responsible bidder, because we have to make sure that when we vet them out, that did they include everything? Are they complying with the specifications? But each time we do that, we'll bring those bids back to the board for approval. And then eventually you'll have, as we go through that process, you'll ultimately get up to that 43 million number. Okay.
I got a quick question. Okay, so what we do here now going forward, we make a plan.
Mhm.
And if anything changes, are we charged every time there's a change? Or is that is this an all-inclusive deal?
This is an all-inclusive deal.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear, because I know sometimes when you make a change in something,
Yeah.
you get charged thousands of dollars for a change of some sort.
Yes. Once we have these design committees that Jim had talked about have started, and they'll be involved throughout the design process. And then the board will ultimately approve the designs that then we'll take out to bid. Once we take them out to bid, if there's a change where we collectively decide, you get into construction, you find out, maybe there's a better way to do this. Okay. Then there would be a change for that, but there's a contingency fund built into the plan to cover that. And it doesn't, we don't benefit one way or another on that. That would just be with the contractors. So we would, if there's a change, either it's going to be, either the district is going to say, you know what, we'd really like to do this. Okay. And so then we would, then you're working with the contractors on site. Okay. And we'd make sure that their pricing is reasonable. Or sometimes the contractors say, hey, you know what, now that we're on site, we think there's a better way to do whatever. And they'll say, if we do this, we give you a deduct of maybe $100,000. So we vet that out to make sure, well, one, is it a good idea? And two, is 100,000 a fair number for it? Maybe it should have been 200,000 or whatever. But we worked together on that the whole way through. For any deviations, though, that would cause a cost increase. Again, there is a contingency, which is initially budgeted at about 5% of the overall plan. Any contingency dollars that are unused at the end of the plan remain the property of the district. Make sense? Other questions? This is a good question, by the way, and these are some of the similar discussions that we had with the facilities committee.
I would assume any additional contingency left over, that's obligated to facilities again, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you have, as a school board, you have tremendous latitude with it, as long as it goes into what we call bricks and mortar.
So how often do you have a lot left over?
A lot?
Yeah, not usually. I'm
Yeah,
sure they
yeah.
figure out a way to use it.
No, again, keep in mind, there isn't any, there's no incentive for us to use it because we don't make any money on it. We don't self-perform the work. We don't make any money. So there's no incentive for us. In fact, our incentive is to not use it because we have to make sure that we deliver the project for this budget. So takes pressure off of us if we have a little bit of it left. We often will bring our bids in. The last 18 months has been extremely challenging, with the super sky high construction inflation that has pulled, I won't say it's pulled back, it's leveled off a little bit now. The higher interest rates are impacting private sector work quite a bit, so that is actually cooling the market down a little bit. So it's a good thing. But historically, our bids are usually within about 5% of our budgets. So, and then what that allows you to do, what most clients do is, we had to go through and do a lot of prioritizing here, right? And that's common. What that allow you to do is, if we end up with some extra money, you can maybe go back through and we can address some of those things that didn't make the first cut. Mark my word, that as soon as we start to save some money, people will say we should do this and this and this. And ultimately, you will always be in full control. Our guidance to you will be to, let's put those on a parking lot. And because there might be other priorities that come up 6 months later, right? So let's let's take those ideas, put them in a parking lot. I don't mean like in a holding pattern.
Yeah.
Why does he want to do parking lots? Anyways, and then when the time is right, again, we'll coach you on this, on when maybe it's time to start doing some of that work. So, okay.
Okay, any other discussions or questions on the contracts?
We'll just do one last thing, because I saw that the facilities committee had brought it up, is the design teams are here for meetings. The nature of that work, a lot of that's done back in our offices. The construction teams will be out here full time. I mean, there'll be construction trailers. They will be very, very visible. Depending on when the work's actually being done, it kind of ebbs and flows throughout the year. But when work is there'll be a whole team that's here full time, very, very visible. So Nexus will function kind of as an adjunct members of your own staff with a heavy focus on construction. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Any questions, concerns, comments?
So project management would be here on site.
Yes. Yep.
Anything else for Mike? Okay. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And is this something that you take formal action later in the meeting? Is that how it works?
I'll be asking and we'll be voting right now.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just didn't know if you wanted me to leave these with you, or from a signature standpoint, or.
We can sign them and get them back to you.
Yes, you can leave them with Amy.
Perfect. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, any discussion among the board or any questions among the board?
Let's emphasize our legal team did go through this and make sure that everything looked good.
Everyone comfortable to move to a vote? Okay. All right. With the significance of this and the contracts, and we're going to do a individual voice vote on this. So again, is any more questions or discussion? Okay, with that, we will proceed to vote on approving the 4 contracts, which is enclosure 7 and 8. So we'll start with the voice vote. Member Sheehan?
Aye.
Member Benson?
Aye.
Member Buchtel?
Aye.
Member Peppel?
Aye.
And Member Frank, I'm an aye as well. So the motion carries unanimously to approve the contracts with Nexus. All right, let's move on to item B, which is to adopt the 2023 payable 2024 property tax levy. Is there that would be the proposed levy by fund for the general fund is $1,393,319.38. The community service proposed levy would be $70,928.07. The debt service proposed levy would be $2,563,194.48 for a grand total of $4,027,442.23. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by member Buchtel and seconded by member Sheehan to adopt the 2023 payable 2024 property tax levy of the general fund of $1,393,319.38. The community service levy of $70,928.07. The debt service levy of $2,563,194.48 for a grand total of $4,027,442.23. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, with that, let's move to vote then. All in favor to adopt the 2023 payable 2024 property tax levy as printed on the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to adopt the 2023 payable 2024 property tax levy for the grand total of $4,027,442.23. Okay. Let's move on to item C on our new business, and that would be to adopt a resolution for certification of minutes relating to $39,950,000 and the general obligation school buildings bond series 2024A. That's enclosure number 9 in our packet. So I will, do I need to read the first page or just, I'm assuming just the resolution itself?
Yeah, just the resolution.
All right, so I'll be asking upfront for a member and a second by a member as we go here. So member Sheehan introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption, which motion was seconded by member Buchtel. Resolution relating to $39,950,000 general obligation school building bond, series 2024A. Authorizing the issuance and authorizing the superintendent or finance manager and any board officer to award the sale thereof and to take such action and execute all documents necessary to accomplish said award and sale, and establishing compliance with reimbursement bond regulations under the Internal Revenue Code. Be it resolved by the school board, the Board of Independent School District number 2534, Rhode Island, Olivia, Lake Lillian, Minnesota, which is the district, as follows. Section 1, authorization and election. Board hereby determines it is in the best interest of the district to authorize the issuance and sale of its general obligation school building bond, series 2024A, in the maximum aggregate principal amount of $39,950,000. The bonds. The proceeds to be used to finance the acquisition and betterment of school sites and facilities, including but not limited to various deferred capital maintenance projects at the Olivia and Rhode Island schools. The project, as approved by the electors at a special election held on November 7th, 2023, pursuant to Minnesota statutes, chapter 475. Section 2, solicitation and proposals, approval of the sale of the bonds. The district has retained Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors, LLC in St. Paul, Minnesota, known as Baker Tilly, as its independent municipal advisor. The superintendent or finance manager and any board officer in consultation with and upon the advice of representatives of Baker Tilly are hereby authorized and directed to solicit proposals for the purchase of the bonds and award the sale of bonds and execute a bond purchase agreement on the part of the district in accordance with Minnesota statutes, section 475.60, subdivision 2, paragraph 9, provided that the aggregate principal amount of the bonds shall not exceed $39,950,000. The final maturity shall be no later than February 1st, 2054, and the true interest cost shall not exceed 6.00%. Section 3, Board Ratification of Sale. Upon approval of the sales of the bonds by the superintendent or finance manager and any board officer, the board will take action at a regularly scheduled or special meeting thereafter to adopt bond resolutions prepared by the district's bond council, ratifying the sale of the bonds and incorporating the terms and conditions with respect thereto. Section 4, Official Statement. Baker Tilly is authorized to prepare and distribute an official statement for the bonds. Section 5, State Credit Enhancement Program. A, the district hereby covenants and obligates itself to notify the Commissioner of Education of a potential default in the payment of principal and interest on the bonds and to use the provisions of Minnesota statutes, section 126C.55 to guarantee payment of the principal and interest on the bonds when due. The district further covenants to deposit with the registrar or any successor paying agent 3 days prior to the date on which a payment is due is due an amount sufficient to make that payment or to notify the Commissioner of Education that it will be unable to make all or a portion of that payment. The registrar for the bonds is authorized and directed to notify the Commissioner of Education if it becomes aware of a potential default in the payment of principal or interest on the bonds, or if on the day 2 business days prior to the date a payment is due on the bonds, there are insufficient funds to make that payment on deposit with the registrar. The district understands that as a result of its covenant to be bound by the provision of Minnesota statutes, section 126.55, the provisions of that section shall be binding as long as any bonds of this issue remain outstanding. B, the district further covenants to comply with all procedures now and hereafter established by the Departments of Management and Budget and Education of the state of Minnesota pursuant to Minnesota statutes, section 126C.55, subdivision 2C, and otherwise to take such actions as necessary to comply with that section. The chair, clerk, superintendent, or business manager is authorized to execute any applicable Minnesota Department of Education forms. Section 6, reimbursement. Part A, subpart I. The Internal Revenue Service has issued section 1.150-2 of the income tax regulations, dealing with the issuance of tax exempt obligations, all or a portion of the proceeds of which are to be used to reimburse the district for project expenditures made by the district prior to the date of issuance. The reimbursement obligations. Part II. The regulations generally require that the district make a declaration of its official intent to reimburse itself for such prior expenditures out of the proceeds of a subsequently issued series of tax-exempt obligations within 60 days after payment of the expenditures, that such obligations be issued and the reimbursement allocation be made from the proceeds of such obligations within the reimbursement period, as defined in the regulations, and that the expenditures reimbursed be capital expenditures or cost issuance of the obligations. Section III, the district desires to comply with requirements of the regulations with respect to the project. Then part BI, the district proposes to undertake project and to make original expenditures with respect thereto prior to the issuance of reimbursement obligations, and reasonably expects to issue reimbursement obligations for such project in the maximum principal amount shown below. The project is an acquisition and betterment of school sites and facilities, including but not limited to various deferred capital maintenance projects at the Olivia and Rhode Island schools. And the maximum amount of obligations expected to be issued for the project is $39,950,000. Then under B there, II, it says, other than I, de minimis amounts permitted to be reimbursed pursuant to section 1.150-2, part F1 of the regulations, or II in bracket or parentheses, expenditures constituting preliminary expenditures as defined in section 1.150-2, brackets F, brackets 2 of the regulations. The district will not seek reimbursement for any original expenditures with respect to the foregoing project paid more than 60 days prior to the date of adoption of this resolution. All original expenditures for which reimbursement is sought will be capital expenditures or costs of issuance of the reimbursement obligations. So now we're on part C under section 6 here. And as the date hereof, there are no district funds reserved, pledged, allocated on a long-term basis or otherwise set aside or reasonably expected to be reserved, pledged, allocated on a long-term basis or otherwise set aside to provide permanent financing for the original expenditures related to the project other than pursuant to the issuance of the reimbursement obligations. Consequently, it is not expected that the issuance of the reimbursement obligations will result in the creation of any replacement proceeds. And then part D under section 6, the district's business manager shall be responsible for making the reimbursement allocations described in the regulations, being generally the transfer of the appropriate amount of proceeds of the reimbursement obligations to reimburse the source of temporary financing used by the district to make payment of the original expenditures related to the project. Each reimbursement allocation shall be made not later than 1, 18 months after the date of the original expenditure, or 2, 18 months after the date the project is placed in service or abandoned, but in no event later than 3 years after the original expenditure is paid, and shall be evidenced by an entry on the official books and records of the district maintained for the reimbursement obligations, and shall specifically identify the original expenditures being reimbursed. Okay, section 7, expiration. The authorization provided in section 4 hereof shall expire on March 31st, 2024. Upon vote being taken thereon, the following voted in favor thereof. Member Benson,
Aye.
Member Sheehan,
Aye.
Member Buchtel,
Aye.
Member Peppel,
Aye.
Member Frank is an aye as well. And the following voted against the same, which is none. Whereupon the resolution was declared duly passed and adopted today, December 18th, 2020. It is the 18th, right? Yes, 2023. Okay.
We're gonna have to take a break.
I need to get a drink here. That took longer to read than I thought for a few pages. Okay, we are now on item D under new business. So this would be the third and final reading of policy 514, bullying prohibition policy, as printed in our packets. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Benson.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by member Benson and seconded by member Buchtel to approve policy 514, bullying prohibition policy, which is enclosure number 10 printed in our packet. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving policy 514, bullying prohibition policy, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously to approve policy 514 today, December 18th, 2023, which is our bullying prohibition policy. Okay. Next item would be E under new business, is our second reading of policy 506, which is the student discipline. That's enclosure 11 in the packet. The next meeting that we have, we would be approving this policy. So we could either do that at the organizational meeting in January or the regular January meeting. So we'll see what the agenda looks like for the organizational meeting, and if we can fit it in, we'll do it. If it looks like there's too much on that agenda, we'll move it to later part. So any questions on the student discipline or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Okay, with that, then we'll just move on to item F, which is our first reading of policy 503, student attendance. So that would be as printed in your packet. We're not doing any action tonight, so we would have 2 more meetings that this would be covered at before we do a final approval on it. Any questions on the student attendance policy? Any questions? Okay, I encourage everyone to continue to look through that, and if you have any questions, please get those brought up. So, okay, let's move then on to item G. And that would be to approve a fundraiser for the prom committee to place jars within the community to collect change to raise funds for prom. Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Peppel to approve a fundraiser for the prom committee to place jars within the community to collect change to raise funds for prom. Any discussion?
Is there a dollar amount they're looking to get? I mean, once they reach it, are they gonna go out and like collect the jars every once in a while just to see if they've reached that goal? Any idea?
I don't have any idea.
I don't think they have a specific goal in mind. They're just trying to raise funds to get supplies for prom.
Do you know when they're gonna start and stop?
I think she planned in January. I think they were looking at like 30 days, not the exact time. They would go out about once a week and collect the jars and see where they're at.
And that gets reported back to
They'll come back to me.
to you, Amy, to the district office?
And they're trying to get how much money, or they don't know, just,
There is nothing in their prom account at all.
Okay.
Like, and so usually every year, everything zeroes out. And so they're trying to build up what they have so they can build going forward and not have such a huge cost to the kids to go. Otherwise, they're looking at a bigger cost to the kids to go prom this year.
don't they usually send them out to the businesses too, letters and things?
I think they
So-
are, I don't know if they do for prom, but I know post prom typically does that, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's
I think it's
post-prom.
Post-prom, okay.
After prom. Yeah.
Mhm.
Any other?
What does it normally cost each kid just to go to prom?
I think it's about 60,
I
For-
think
for a
it's
couple?
60 a couple, I think.
so 30.
And what does that cover then?
The meal, basically the meal and a,
Probably
Grand
dance.
March and
yeah.
Dance too? Probably dance.
DJ.
DJ.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know they're looking to get a few more new decorations and they have a pretty active group of kids that are on the prom committee this year that want to do big things. And so there's,
Good,
the only way they can do it is if they can raise some funds for it.
Sure.
okay.
Didn't they used to do like a fall fundraiser for prom?
They are also doing a Build-A-Burger basket or something at the Olivia Legion in, I have the date in my office, but I don't remember what it is. I think it's in February, I believe.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, any other discussion? Any other discussion? Okay, Hearing no more discussion, we'll move to vote to approve a fundraiser for the prom committee to place jars within the community to collect change to raise funds for prom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to approve a fundraiser for the prom committee to place jars within the community, to collect change to raise funds for prom. Okay, last item under new business is item H. That would be to accept the resignation of Teresa Jacobs, school board member, effective immediately, December 18th, 2023, and immediately would be approximately 10:30 this morning when she handed in the resignation. Is there a motion?
So moved, Dr.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
So it's been moved by member Buckle and seconded by member Benson to approve the resignation of Teresa Jacobs, school board member, effective immediately, December 18th, 2023, approximately at 10:30 this morning. So any discussion? Any discussion? I'll just say thanks, Teresa, for your years of service on the board for the community.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Teresa.
It's a big job. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, then we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to accept the resignation of Teresa Jacobs, school board member, effective immediately, December 18th, 2023. Okay. Let's move on to section 11, the upcoming dates. We have 4. The first would be January 3rd, 2024, our organizational meeting at 6:00 p.m. here in the district office.
Make sure that's a Wednesday, so
Yep.
it's gonna be a little hard to remember.
And if you can not make it at 6 p.m., let us know as soon as possible. I know, Brian, that's tough for him, but we need to make sure we have a quorum for that to start. So it's important to know that. The second one would be the MSBA conference, January 9th and 10th, with phase 1 and phase 2 trainings, and then the conference, which would be on the 11th and 12th of January. And then our regular meeting at 7:00 p.m. on January 22nd, 2024 in the district office. And then note on the 3rd of the organizational meeting that will select officers. We will get assigned to committees. I think we'll appoint a new official paper, all the stuff we have to do legally each year is done at that meeting.
What's our process going to be now with Teresa leaving? Just add in the other 2 and be done with it?
We had to discuss and
Yeah.
we'll figure that out, so. Anything else on upcoming dates that were missed? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved by member Sheehan and seconded by member Buchtel to adjourn. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All right. With that, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries to adjourn at 8:03 p.m.
You were officially done.